talking about food labels today. So when we talk about food labels, we know that we all need food to survive, and we go to a lot of supermarkets, grocery stores, and a lot of places where we need to buy. And sometimes we're such in a hurry we don't even read on the labels. But as scientists and professionals in this room, we all need what are food labels, and we all know what are these. So I'm just going to give you an overview about the European and the American labels and the latest news, what's coming in the field in terms of allergens, what should be written on the food labels, and what we can do in order to avoid any mistakes, and of course to eat healthy and have plan our meals and our body today. So as a start, we're going to be starting with what is a food label and why it's required. So, I'm not if you put the technology. So what's the purpose of food labeling? Why do we need food labeling? The most important thing today is to inform the consumer about the food labels. Of course, we don't tell the people what to buy. Sometimes they're more expensive, sometimes they're less expensive. But the thing is that when we inform the consumer about the food label, we just lead him in a way to take the balance of nutrients his body needs, or maybe lead him in a way to see which foods are higher in fat, lower in fat, and maybe, of course, look at the salt content, calories from fat, and anything related to sugar too. So first of all, we need to inform the consumer. Then we need to advertise the product. And here is the big thing. We need to know what products are being sold more or less. And we're going to see in the coming slides that if the logo of the brand is important or not. Then the distinguish the product from the other. Because sometimes we just buy something and we don't know what to choose next. So we know that if we like the taste or we like, of course, the utility of the product actually, we will know next when we go to the supermarket to know what to buy. So first inform the consumer, then advertise the product. Then of course it's a legal requirement, we have to label the food, and we will see what are the latest requirements in the US and European Union according to the, of course, the Codex Alimentarius. So these 4 key points that we're seeing here are actually requirements to have food labels. Then what should be included in the food label? Let's start. Of course we have to have a brand name. When we talk about the brand name, we need to distinguish the product. We need to know that this is our brand. And of course, a lot of people will go to certain brands and say, of course, I know this factory does very good cheeses, let's say what dairy products, and other factories like do maybe other house products. So whenever we have a brand, that's the key thing. And of course, the less is the better. We don't need to put a lot of things on the label. Whatever the minimum requirement is written, and whenever it's, of course, is met, then the most countries don't need to put more. Product name clearly stated and not ambiguous or misleading. Then we need to have the name, the address of the manufacturer, packer, and the seller. Here the European Union has 3 distinguishable things. And the most important thing is that, let's say we have a Greek yogurt pot. We don't want to think that this Greek yogurt is coming from Greece, because it might actually come from anywhere except Greece. So we always need to know where is it being packed, so of course where it's being sold, and of course the manufacturing thing too. So the EU has created 3 systems to promote and protect regional food products. The protected designation of origin, the protected geographical indication, and the traditional specialty guarantee. So these are the main 3, of course, regional food product protection and promotion according to the EU. We also need to have the expiry date, of course, manufactured, sold by, this is the most important thing, the ingredients according to descending order of weight, and the most important thing some people would not even think of is that water and additives should be clearly stated if they are added to a food product according to ingredient lists. And the net weight of the product, allergen information, we will see later on, GMOs, allergens, are they required in the countries? Should we provide allergen information or not? And of course, the genetically modified food, which nowadays are only required in 64 countries around the world, but not in the US and Canada as major countries of import-export, of course. So there was, since we're in Italy now, there was a very interesting thing in August this year. It started when the government actually required the people of pasta and rice manufacturers to actually label the origin of pasta and rice. And say that, I mean, if you can have Italian pasta, no offense to anything or anyone, but this is actually what happened. In August 2017, the Italian Ministries of Agriculture and Economic Development imposed mandatory labeling on pasta and rice packaging, companies to include the origin of durum wheat and rice. Of course, durum wheat is a staple food of pasta. Aiming to achieve maximum transparency for the consumer, strengthen protection for producers, and push this approach to see it replicated at the EU level. The labeling policy will be entering into force in February 2006. Of course, it was not very welcome from companies, and they're asking to maybe with the law or not even applied. So this is one of the things that might be also as model for food labeling and what's coming on next. So what about the allergen information? We started with 8 allergens, common allergens in the world in the States. And since 2014, December 2014, the EU requires 14 allergens to be labeled, so plus 6, and we'll see what are the 6 allergens. 8 plus 6, we have 14 allergens nowadays required by the European Union to be labeled on food labels. So changes to food labeling in Europe have been, of course, since December. On any of the 14 allergens that are only on the regulatory list are to be emphasized. Of course, they have to be listed in bold as ingredients. So the first column that we see here on the left are the ones that we know, the 8 common allergens in the world. And the next, it started since December 2014 actually, and we added, they added sesame seeds, mustard, celery, lupin, mollusks, and sulfur dioxide and sulfides, which are very common in some compounds and food compounds, and as we can see, these are requirements now. So 14 allergens in the EU, and the US still requires only 8. Okay, actually this picture is not as clear as you see, but of course, around 8% of the people with accidental food allergies reactions in the world admit having ignored labeling. So this is like of course, a small box of an ice cream. It says not free. And down there, when we have the circle, it says manufactured in a facility which also processes dairy products, peanuts, and among others. So this is a labeling, and labeling can go wrong sometimes. And we know that sometimes accidental reactions happen. And not long ago, actually, I was just reading the news last month in September, because New York City is offering free lunch for schools. A 3-year-old child died just because his family said he was allergic to dairy products. Everybody knew, and just a mistake of a worker was that they offered him a dairy product sandwich, a cheese sandwich. He just collapsed, and of course, and he died in the hospital. So hazards of food allergens happened everywhere. So, and of course, the school was shut down, and it's a big chaos in the media now. So ingredients, this is a typical ingredient, like we have to give an allergy advice, what can be also included on the label of origin, the nutrition facts, and we will talk in details about nutrition facts related to calories, vitamins, and anything related to that. So just a typical label for you to see. Next, of course, also another major recall last year. We're not against any company here. We're just saying that one of the companies that we're reading over here had mislabeled something very important. They said that it is a pork gravy when the pork gravy was not even there. It was just a dairy product item, and a lot of people had a lot of problems. Of course, allergens were there. So they just recalled 5,000 items and 5,000 pounds actually from 1,000 retail locations, just because it was in the States and it was labeled as a gravy pork, and it was not even gravy pork. It was completely something else. So these things happen, even if we have big manufacturers, big companies we trust. Sometimes we also have to be very careful. And of course, this could have been a very big problem. As much as we recall, just one consumer called, and it was just taken off the shelves, and no one died, luckily. What about GMOs? The legal and regulatory status of GMOs would vary by country. Today we have Russia, we have Japan, we have Brazil, we have the European Union, we have Australia, we have a lot of countries which require on their labels to have GMOs, but not the US, not Canada so far. For GM products sold loose, information must be displayed immediately next to the food. Food produced with GM technology, like when we have cheeses from GM enzymes, let's say, or like products such as meat, milk, and eggs from animal fat on GM animal feed are not required to be labeled. If we give GM genetically modified food for the animals, we don't have to label the eggs of the chicken, let's say, or the ham. Codex Alimentarius governments are free to decide on whether to label foods from modern biotechnology, including foods containing GM organisms. So this was the official statement of Codex Alimentarius in 2011 related to GM foods. The European Commission also in 2010 had a very statement. It was a bit ambiguous. We didn't know what was expected after that. The main conclusion to be drawn from the efforts of more than 130 research projects covering a period of more than 25 years, involving more than 500 independent research groups, is that biotechnology, and in particular GMOs, are not per se more risky than any conventional plant breeding technologies. And in 2012, the European Food Safety Authority, the EFSA, said that GMO panel said that novel hazards could be associated with transgenic strains. So here we started, all the GMO and all these firms coming up and saying maybe or maybe not, and then in 2012 we had another statement. Currently, consensus among scientists and regulators pointed to the need for improved testing technologies and protocols. Of course, we need more and more research, more and more data. What happens in the EU, what happens in the US concerning the GMOs? Both US and EU evaluate scientific research on nutrition content, environmental health, and human health. This is very common, this is very normal. Then we start by the right column, and we have the EU. European Union is all GMO foods are regulated. The EFSA evaluates human and environmental risk of GM food. It's approved by the European Commission or Committee of the Member States, and all foods containing more than 0.9% of genetically modified items material must be labeled. This is very clear in terms of the European Union. We move to the US to the left column, and we can see that companies can be exempted from regulation. EPA regulates human and environmental health, USDA regulates transportation and handling of GM probes, and FDA regulates nutritional content of GM probes. But in the end, no labeling required for the GM items or food items. So this is a major difference. Optional information on food labels. Of course, we need to have a brand because we want to sell more. We just want the people to identify our brand to see what's going on. Then we have to have instructions for preparing the product. Sometimes we can see that, of course, heated at this temperature, prepared, blended at some other products. Maybe some companies want to sell more of the other products. So they say you can mix it with this ingredient or the other from our company too. So we just have other ideas. Storage instructions or instructions on storage after opening, how to store it like in refrigerators or like leave it open, leave it whatever it has to be. Examples of recipes, any number if the product is being exported to the EU. A barcode is very good and to identify, and nowadays even the maybe shopping, when you go shop and you see barcodes, sometimes they scan your shoes or they scan your shirt to see that you have the right size or not. So barcodes are being very common now, and food standards logo in some countries. This is a very interesting logo. It's called the Red Tractor logo. It's not something international, it's just happening in the UK. So they came up with an idea that we want to specialize in something called that we want to say that our ingredient or our product is healthier. So this Red Tractor logo is something very common. It can be done in any part of the world with any company. It's just a product, over 65% coming from healthy products. They just label it as a Red Tractor. Once the product has this logo, then it's very easy to find that it's a healthy product. It's just another way of saying our product is healthy. So the Red Tractor logo can only be used to label ingredients from farmers, growers, and food processors that have been inspected and certified to strict standards. So multi-ingredient products must contain at least 65% of the Red Tractor certified ingredients. They cover the food chains from farm to fork, anything related to cereal, fruits, milk, chicken, beef, and lamb. So this is just a logo in the UK is being advertised, and it can be done in any parts of the world with any company, of course, food safety companies. Then labeling done wrong. Sometimes we see a lot of labeling done wrong. So we can see the first thing, just because this item had to be labeled bird, and it was labeled breed, so it was like reduced because of the misspelling. Then the corn on the cob labeled as water. It's just in the same supermarket. Then sometimes, you hot dogs and eggs, you don't have to get both, you just can get buy one. So this is also another labeling gone wrong. So a lot of labeling going wrong. So now we move to the nutrients. What nutrients do we need to have in this nutrition? We need to have the calories derived from fat, the saturated fat, of course we need to have the vitamin A and C, we need to have the calcium, we need to have the iron, of course anything written on the slide. But why did I put vitamin A and C, both vitamins in red? Because we will see later on that they are no more required according to US labeling. So all of them are required, and the vitamin A and C will be kind of not required according to the common slide. And sodium, we will see the difference between the States and the US. One labels it as a milligram, the other labels it in grams. And of course, dietary fiber. For something to be having the nutritional claim, low fat is less than 3 grams of fat. High fiber, less than 6 grams of fat per 100 grams. And in reduced sugar, less than 30% less than the original product. Source of vitamins, we have at least 50% of our daily requirements of vitamin C. Also is important. Some of the nutrition claims that I'm just showing you to have an idea. This is the latest study from the American Journal of Dietetic Association. In 2017, they did a study from 2008 to 2012, over 40,000 households in the state. They just want to see that what does it mean to have a low content claim on food labels. So The method was to analyze more than 80 million foods and beverages purchased in the States by 40,000 families from 2008 to 2012. Then, the results. The low content claims were based on comparisons with other foods and were not standard definitions and didn't necessarily mean that these foods were more nutritious than other brands. The higher income households tended to be more likely to buy products with these types of claims. Of course, they were more affluent societies, they have more income and they can buy more low-fat foods, maybe healthier, thinking that it's healthy for them, of course. And 13% of food and 35% of beverage purchases included products with some type of low content claim, low fat, low calorie, low sugar, low sodium. So actually, if they go and try to talk about dairy products maybe, or anything, 30% of the food had a low fat version. 35% of the beverages had a low fat version. The ones who bought more of the low fat things were the affluent societies more, and here we can see, on average, packaged foods with low nutrient claims had 32% fewer calories, lower nutrients, 11% less sugar, and about half the fat and sodium compared to foods that didn't carry any claims on the packaging. So far, so good. We're paying for what we want to get for. But some products with low nutrient claims actually had more of that substance than foods without those claims. So even if they say it's low fat, maybe they have more of the substances sometimes than foods that don't have any claims on them. So this is according to the latest study related to food labeling and on the low fat and low fat choices or low calorie choices. The codex. What does the codex want and what does it say? It covers all foods, whether processed, semi-processed, or raw, in addition to general standard covering matters such as food labeling, food safety, foods derived from modern biotechnology, or others. Since December 2016, it just regulated the EU and the US legislations are based on international standards by codex, minimum font size for mandatory information, a standard presentation of allergens, each by its required allergens 8 versus 14, required nutritional information, clearer information on certain important nutritional characteristics of processed foods, energy, fat, saturated fat, carbohydrates, sugars, proteins, and salt. So this is what the codex wants. This is just an idea to give you, to show you according to the European Union. So just to have name of the food, list of ingredients, allergens, added water, to just summarize something that we just talked about in the previous slide, to give you a summary. So far, so good. The latest labeling legislations in Europe, what can we see? A new EU regulation on the provision of food information and consumers entered into application, as we say, in December 2014, among which the allergens also were regulated. In December 2016, providing nutrition information on the back of packaged foods was compulsory. So when we take a product, we have to have compulsory something, of course it's obligatory now, to have it on the back of the food label. What about the front? Is it better? Is it more for visual aids? Some people cannot eat, some people are very much in a hurry, they just want to see something. You have to have a front of a back labeling to be able to maybe buy faster or like understand faster or be carried away by the product and buy it instead of something else. So let's see. Front of back labeling remains optional since December 2016. Key changes in the EU law. Improved legibility of information, minimum consent for mandatory information. Clear and harmonized presentation of allergens. Mandatory allergen information for non-prepacked foods, including restaurants and cafes. Requirement of certain nutrient information. So here when we talk about restaurants and cafes, so they have to have a certain type of labeling outside, inside, wherever they are on a chalkboard to say that they contain allergens, they don't contain allergens. It's just not because their food is not packaged, they're serving something, they don't have to inform the consumer. This is according to the EU law. Same labeling requirement for online distance selling or buying the shop. Mandatory origin information for fresh meat from pigs, sheep, goat, and poultry. List of engineered nanomaterials and all ingredients. Specific information on the vegetable origin of refined oils and fats. Strengthened rules to prevent misleading practices. Indication of substitute ingredient for limitation foods. Clear indication of formed meat or formed dish. And of course, clear indication of the processed product. The list is too long, but these are the key changes that happened. Old back of nutrition panel and new back of nutrition panel. What's the difference? We have this old and the new labeling. We have the energy, the protein, the carbs, the fat, fiber, and sodium. We can see the new one, we don't have something called sodium in the back. We have something called salt, and salt is in grams. And fiber can also be added. We didn't add it, we just said carbohydrates of which sugars, but it's not compulsory anymore. So on the right side, we have the new labeling according to the EU. What about the most of the major supermarkets and what's happening with the labeling. We have two major labeling points in the EU, the traffic light and the reference intakes. And we'll see later on what happened with France and how successful they are labeling, the new way of labeling. So, most of the major supermarkets and many food manufacturers choose to display nutritional information on the front of prepackaged food and drinks. There are two major schemes, the traffic light and reference intake. Sometimes they use a combination of two. This started in the UK, according to the traffic lights that we have. Green is to go, it's healthier, it's very good for you. Red is, of course, to pay and to slow down and to stop, not to have a lot of this red item things because of the traffic light says to stop and this says to have a lot of calories. And then in between we have the orange. So this system was actually started in the UK and a lot of foods are being labeled and not labeled according to the traffic lights. Then we have a combination of both. We can put the numbers, we can pick the photo colors, we can put the traffic lights. It's also found a lot in the UK and around the world. What about the new system called Nutri-Score in France? In March 2017, in France, after 3 months of trials in over 40 supermarkets across France for 5 types of designs to be able to have a Nutri-Score, they tried to know what was the most common, maybe visual, helpful food label for consumers. They did this. And a lot of consumers responded, and after all, they came up with this Nutri-Score. It's just very easy. A, B, C, D, E, and you grade A is the best, you grade E is the worst. And of course, WHO congratulated France after a few months for being very successful because it was able to reach by very simple methods to most of the consumers they wanted to reach, of course, and please they have the options. So, France started to recommend a Nutri-Score system, a straightforward labeling system that uses color codes, and to guide consumers at a glance on the nutritional value of the food products. Even it's known from France is showing that this type of labeling can contribute to informing health choices, meeting growing consumer demands for information and on healthier options and limiting the consumption of food high in energy, saturated fat, and of course refined oils and everything related to that. I will show you, this is the Nutri-Score, A, B, C, D, E. So B is healthier than D, so the right side is less healthy. Then you can see this. It's coming from the same company, by the way. So I'm not going to be saying anything bad about any of the companies, it's just that when you talk about vegetable crisps, you think that vegetable crisps are a very healthy thing. And when you talk about chips, you think that, oh God, chips is very bad, we don't need to eat chips. In the end, both of them might not be healthy for me. But what I think is that when we think about the first picture, we see that it's graded E. Why? Because it had 35% of 7 grams of fat, which means saturated fat. And the second one is 24.4 grams, which is also fat. So 2.5 grams of saturated fat, the second one, the first one is 4.1 grams. And then, of course, the first one has more sugar, but in the end, the first one, which is labeled or called vegetable crisp, that we all think vegetables, let's go for vegetables, which is a healthy choice, was the wrong one. So we just need to be paying attention to the things that are labeled. Front of package labeling, FDA started the idea of front of pack labeling 2010. And the reason I'm influencing and to keep going on this thing is that front of pack labeling is the best thing for the future. You just go away with it, you just have to have a look and then that's it. You don't have to turn the product upside down, and sometimes it happens with us when we look at an expiry date, we don't know where it is. So it's very easy and it's very convenient. They're trying to simplify things. So since 2010, FDA 6 front of package labeling. And sometimes when we have a product where we can't have it, like the bread, we just can't have all the information on the front of that, we can put it as a side. So this is another idea. So highlight of the latest nutrition facts labeling in the States. In May 2016, the FDA announced the new nutrition facts labels for packaged foods to reflect new scientific information, including the link between diets and chronic diseases, which are the cause of obesity and heart disease in the world. The new label made it easier for consumers to make better informed food choices. Of course, features refreshed design, reflects updated information about nutrition science, updates serving sizes and the labeling requirements. So when does this label has to enter into force? In 2020. And after that, for companies who sell less than $10 million per year, it's going to be in 2021, just to give them some more time to be able to change everything. So FDA was very tough on them. First, they started 2018 was the deadline, so now it's loosening everything. And since July, they said, okay, we can extend the deadline, and you can do it in 2020 and 2021. Actually, I was doing kind of the same presentation a couple of weeks ago in In Chicago, it was exactly not the same, but it was a food and beverage summit, and a lot of people say that 2020 deadline was more than fine, and they didn't need more because there were a lot of phone companies, big companies over there, PepsiCo and so on. So highlights of the latest nutrition facts labeling in the US. Servings larger, bolder type, serving size is updated, calories larger type, updated daily values, new added sugars. So as we can see, these are the major things that have been changing. So the old and the new again, the original and the new label. So includes 10 grams of added sugar. Here the sugar is, it has to be in percentages. It has to have, of course, the old one had vitamin A and C, as you can see in the left column down the protein, and here we don't have vitamin A and C. So the new ones don't require vitamin A and C, but vitamin D is there. And it is very important for health nowadays, and there are talks and studies about vitamin D. Key differences between the States and the EU. First, nutrition labels must indicate the number of servings per container. So how many slices of toast do we have in one serving, according to the States? Whereas in the EU, it depends on the food or beverage, 100 milliliters, 100 grams, and of course, here we have the calories listing. The sodium content in milligrams in the States, the salt content in grams in the EU. And the EU requires specific information on the vegetable origin of refined oils. As the professor before me was talking about palm oil, let's say, it just doesn't have to state hydrogenated oil. It has to say palm oil, whereas olive oil, whereas any type of oil is there, they have to declare exactly the specific type of oil, so consumers know what they're buying. And the EU's new provision includes some of requirements for non-prepackaged foods. In addition, EU regulation applies not only in the labeling of food displays, but also on their advertising. This is the report card, US, Europe, and Canada, just to show you how is different common name, scientific name, product method. As you can see, geographical origin, everything that we talked about it so far, according to food labeling. So this is everything related to it. So no need to take pictures, I can email you the presentation if you want after that. You can ask me for it. What about the health claims? Sometimes we have a lot of health claims, like organic, vegan, anything related to a certain product. We just have to know that these health claims sometimes may not be validated. So it's good for some people, but it might not be validated for as the legal legislation. So a health claim may be featured on the pre-packaging of the food, or one of the ingredients have been agreed by experts to provide additional health benefits. Very prescriptive regulations on nutrient claims are now enforced across the EU. Labels are not allowed to claim that food can treat, prevent, or cure any disease. Next, we move to organic. Every organic food should be labeled if they have over 95% of their product, or actually their ingredients, as an organic food. So food may only be marketed as organic, at least 95% of their agricultural ingredients are organic. Organic ingredients in non-organic food may be listed as organic in the list of ingredients. USDA organic products have strict production. Maybe some of you remember USDA, the green logo, the round logo of USDA organic. Yes, there is the USDA organic, but it has to have more than 95% of the certain product. Produced without excluded methods, produced using allowed substances, overseen by USDA National Organic Program authorized agent. So USDA organic program, so it has to be related to that. Vegetarian, there is currently no single legal definition of the terms vegetarian or vegan, either in Europe or America. Products displaying the Vegetarian Society approved logo must fulfill requirements laid down by Vegetarian Society in country of origin. So any of the countries has a Vegetarian Society, you just have to have, and if, of course, if it's a legal one, not just a claim, they have to go there and fulfill the requirements. So far, may be suitable for vegetarian, it's not a good logo, it's not, a claim, a good claim actually. It's not regulated and it's not a voluntary claim, which means that it's illegal for labeling information. Vegan, vegetarian, certified by vegan, we have the V label for Europe, we have sunflower symbol for the UK, we have a lot of things, and we have the green dot symbol Indian requirement for food. So it's very good, if a lot of people want to become vegetarian, maybe for them, but sometimes we need to know what are we buying, what are we asking for, and what logos are we looking for. What about the alcohol? We don't want to tackle the alcohol labeling because it's kind of different, but what I can tell you is that according to the Surgeon General Hospital in the States, we have two major things. Pregnant women are not allowed or, of course, advised to drink alcohol. This is very important. And, of course, we have the consumption of alcoholic beverages impairs your ability to drive a car or operate machinery and may cause health problems. So this label that you see here is going to be, or is actually since the 1960s, over any alcoholic bottle in the state, anything related to beer or wine, or anything related to whiskey, hormone, and anti-mutant liquors or whatever. So this is a warning for everyone. What about the types of food label? I'm going to be ending my presentation by talking about the general simple thing. Sometimes we have to have a sophisticated label to attract the consumer. But the type of label used varies according to the type of foods, the packaging container, individual preferences, and local availability. Of course, you cannot make every consumer happy. Sometimes you have colors that disliked by some people and are very much liked by others. The most common type of label is the paper label that is glued onto the container. Self-adhesive labels are also available but may be more expensive. And if a range of product is being produced, it's possible to use a common label design that can be adapted for each product line. The design of a label and the quality of the paper or other materials that are used is very critical importance. In general, a simple, uncluttered image on the label is better than a complex design which misleads the consumer. The brand name or the name of the company should stand out clearly, and if pictures are used, they should be an accurate representation with a very good resolution, of course, of the product or its material. Color can be used to produce either realistic picture or blocks of one or two bold colors to emphasize the particular design. So also here, although we have a very good product, we have a very good company, if the design is not good, then it's a dead end for product. When we have a lot of food ads, we have the Android, we have the Apple, we have a lot of systems, we have a lot of applications for food allergies. Sometimes we just go and Google it on restaurants and we know that these restaurants have allergic foods or whatever, but food ads are very much. And then 2017 in October, there was the best 10 food apps in the world selected according to their food allergen information. We know that emojis, you know, the emoticons on your phones, like the smiley faces and everything, in 2016, Google engineering from Japan started to create allergenic information in their emojis, so now they have emojis for wheat or gluten or anything related. There is something very important also is that according to the emojis, there is another system which is also called the Gmojis, which is related to having an app to talk about food labels, inform the people whenever you travel. Let's say you're in China, maybe you don't speak Chinese, you have to show them just the app and they can know from the designs. You don't need to ask for labeling or anything in detail. So this is just a food labeling app, a simple app, and you put the name of the food or you barcode the food because it has a limited value according to some major foods and it gives you a nutritional value. So with this, I will end up my presentation. You're free to ask any questions. Thank you.